Gotta put a lip on. You can't be talking about true crime without a lip. Hey y'all, I want to talk about a case today. Before we start, I just have to point out this necklace set that I got from TJ Maxx the other day. I put this on this morning and it just turned into Carmela Soprano. And kind of here for it, to be perfectly honest about it. Now, I've been promising to do this case for over a year. And to be perfectly honest, this is a case that was really hard to find information on. At the time, there was a lot of rumor locally, but I feel like this case flew so far under the radar of so many people. And if this had happened today in the age of TikTok and like cyber sleuths and all of this thing, this case would have been huge. Absolutely huge. So I mentioned this yesterday, and I actually mentioned it a year ago. I want to cover the case of Mattie Conley. Mattie Conley was a 19-year-old from Greenup County, Kentucky, right across the river from Ohio and real close to West Virginia. She was born Madeline, Mattellen. I assume that those are her parents' names because her dad's name is Matt. She went by Mattie. At the time of our story, she was 19 years old and she had one daughter. Her daughter was very, very young. I don't know how old she was at the time of this, but she looked to be like 2 or under. On September the 8th, 2015, Mattie Conley was on the back of a 4-wheeler ATV with a 20-year-old guy from South Portsmouth, Kentucky named James Ratliff. I'm going to call him James for this story because that's what they call him in all these articles. I'm pretty sure he goes by his middle name, which is Wyatt. I don't know what the relationship between James and Mattie was, but James had a girlfriend. She was 17, from Portsmouth, Ohio, which was right across the river. That's where I'm from. Her name is Kelly Dummett. On September 8th, Mattie was on the back of this 4-wheeler with James Ratliff going for a ride. Now, if you're not from rural areas, this might seem kind of weird, but like we just do this shit. Like I grew up doing this shit. I've been on the back of many a 4-wheeler. There's not a whole lot to do around here. So when we're young, we kind of just, find shit to do. So while Mattie was on the back of this 4-wheeler ATV with James driving, at some point, James's girlfriend, Kelly, saw them. This pissed her off, and I mean, kind of rightfully so. And she decided, I'm gonna chase him. So ultimately, they end up going down probably a back road. At some point, Mattie comes off of the ATV, hits her head on the ground, and dies from a skull fracture. That's all the information that I know for sure. That's it, as far as what happened to her. Mattie unfortunately dies from this skull fracture that she receives. Rather than calling 911 to get this young mother help, they move her body to a completely different location and they tell witnesses not to say anything. He has blood on his hands. They wash his hands and they proceed to start deleting text messages, not just between them, but off of Mattie's phone as well, and text messages that Kelly sent to her friends saying, I'm going to kill Mattie. Her body is found by a layperson. It's not a investigator or anyone involved with her death. Despite Kelly and James telling their friends and witnesses to not say anything, somebody's always going to snitch. Kelly and James claimed to the police that Mattie was afraid and jumped off the back of the 4-wheeler, striking her head, getting that skull fracture, and dying. Well, when they did a reconstruction of that crime scene, they found out that that was not possible. And at this point is when they start questioning what happened. Now, I've heard that Kelly rammed into the 4-wheeler, but I have not seen anywhere that confirms that. However, that is a pattern that she has, and you'll see that here in just a little bit. Later in September, Kelly and James are arrested in relation to this case. Kelly is arrested on reckless homicide and tampering with physical evidence. James Ratliff is arrested on tampering with physical evidence. At the time, Kelly was a minor. She was only 17 years old. They originally charged her as a minor, and after a whole lot of protest about this, she was in fact charged as an adult. By the time that their trials came around in 2017, they had decided to take plea deals and they were offered diversion programs. This is when things start getting a little fucking sketchy. The judge offers to both of them a diversion plea. They would plead guilty to the charges and get diversion, which would avoid any prison time for either of them. All they had to do basically was just be good and complete the diversion program, which is kind of like probation, best that I can understand, and their charges would be dropped. That's all they had to do. Well, the next fucking day, Kelly Dummett is arrested. Why is she arrested? She's arrested on 4 charges. Kelly violated her diversion program 4 times in one day. Entered a place where alcohol is sold as the primary commodity, failure to cooperate with a probation officer, having more than one residence at a time, and the use of alcohol. I think this is the one. There was a story that went around that her probation officer followed her from the office to a convenience store to get liquor, then went to a party and started drinking the day after her diversion program started. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, this is the last we hear of James Ratliff. I assume he completed his diversion program and he's out living his shitty little life somewhere down in Kentucky and probably doesn't think about this as often as he fucking should. The fact that he didn't go to jail, never saw a single day in jail, to the best of my knowledge, is bullshit. Kelly goes back to court. Kelly receives 90 days for contempt, and the judge basically said that he legally had to give her a second chance at the diversion program. Why do you get 2 chances at a diversion program? Isn't the diversion program your second chance? So that was in January of 2018 when Kelly got her contempt charges. In July of 2018, Kelly violated again. So you remember that second chance the judge gave her? She violated it again. This time, what did she do? She left the state of Kentucky without permission. She drank alcohol, violated curfew, and gave false information to her probation officer. She went to a fucking party in Ohio and then fucking lied about it. There's a bench warrant put out in Greenup County, Kentucky for Kelly for this incident. This is her second violation. And it's a violation of her contempt, and it's a violation of her diversion program. What does she do? Does she turn herself in? Fuck no, she goes on the run. They found her in Lewis County, Kentucky, and arrested her. So August of 2018, we're a month after Kelly went on the run. Police receive information about a Facebook post that is threatening Judge McLeod. And the post was made by a man that is Mattie's father. I didn't hear this at the time. This is something I found while researching this. So I don't want to speculate too much on this because I don't know the story here. They go to Matt Conley's home. They find him intoxicated on his couch with a gun. Now, that's directly from the WSAZ article. And they take him to the Greenup County Jail. 15 minutes after Matt Conley is booked into the Greenup County Jail, Kelly Dummett is booked into the Lewis County Jail. Now, these are neighboring counties. Kelly Dummett is booked into the Lewis County Jail for running from her previous charges. What's insane to me, and we'll get to this here in a second, is that Mattie's dad ends up serving more prison time than Kelly Dummett. It's sentencing day. Kelly stands up. She's boohoo crying, carrying, I'm so sorry. I just hope that the family forgives me. I think about this every day. Whatever. To which Matt Conley, Mattie's father, says, quote, "To me, it was a waste of breath. Her apology means nothing. Her talking about how she feels, she has no idea how bad we feel. Her saying that she drinks because of what happened, no, I don't buy it. Her apology means nothing." He also said that this did help bring some closure to the case and that it was 1 conviction down and 1 to go. At this sentencing, Kelly had violated her diversion program 5 times at least. How many fucking chances do you get? She was ultimately sentenced to 7 years in prison. However, she served less than 2. Again, what the fuck? Less than 2 years later, we are in November of 2020. And guess what? Kelly gets arrested again. Kelly gets a DUI in South Shore, Kentucky, which is right across from Portsmouth. She gets a DUI, failure to use a turn signal, wear a seatbelt, not have insurance, all kinds of shit in South Shore, Kentucky. They issue a bench warrant for it, as they do. She fucking dodges that one too. Do you know how long she dodges this bench warrant? 2 fucking years. Dodges a bench warrant for 2 years. Where do they find her? Lewis County, Kentucky. Remember how I said they're right next to each other? Lewis County, Kentucky. They didn't look real hard. So at this point in September of 2022, Kelly is arrested again. I don't know what number this is because she also got arrested as a fucking juvenile. So you remember how I said that I think she rammed her car into the back of that ATV? Here's where it comes up. In September of 2022, Lewis County Sheriff's Office receives a call of a female on property where she's not supposed to be. When they arrive, they find Kelly Dummett being restrained by a male. According to the homeowners, what had happened was they saw Kelly's car coming up the road and her headlights turned off and she slowed down. So they watched and she pulled into their driveway. They went on their side-by-side ATV to go run her off. I'm honestly surprised she didn't get shot during this, to be real honest about it, because this is fucking rural Kentucky. Sheriff arrives to find Kelly being restrained by the male. When they ask what happened, they say that they observed Kelly break into a locked piece of property, which I assume was a shed, something like that, maybe even a gate, because they mentioned something about a dummy lock on a gate. When confronted and told to get the fuck out of here, she started to leave, then got pissed, and rammed the ATV head on in her mother's car. Sound familiar? While she is in trouble for this, she still has to go to court for her DUI in Greenup County. September 2022, they are in court. It is trial day. She attempted to enter a plea prior to this that they had come to an agreement with the prosecutor, and the judge said absolutely the fuck not. The judge said that he would not accept a plea deal from her unless it was for the maximum sentence for the crime. At this trial, the judge adds a contempt charge onto Kelly's list of charges for dodging the Lewis County DUI trial for 2 years. Her attorney tells the judge that she had a reason and that she was somewhere, but he wouldn't tell the judge where she was, but he would allow Kelly to tell him. Kelly sits there like a fucking bump on a log and doesn't say anything. So why bring it up? The judge is not hearing any of this. The judge tells her, quote, "You have been as disrespectful as anyone could be to a court order." He sentences her to 180 days for contempt, which is the maximum that he could sentence her to. So all of that is just for the contempt. They're not even to the DUI yet. The judge tells the attorneys to approach the bench because they're going to start the DUI portion of this hearing. Kelly sits there all sourpuss with her arms crossed to the point that her attorney has to tell her, stop looking like a little brat and uncross your fucking arms. Ultimately, Kelly did enter guilty pleas for everything against her, which was driving under the influence, failing to use a turn signal, reckless driving, failure to wear a seatbelt, and license is supposed to be in your possession. However, she wasn't done. When the judge brings up her insurance, saying that she did not prove that she had insurance, she fucking interjects. Don't fucking do that. Interrupts the judge and is all, oh, no, I had to have insurance because I had to show my insurance to get my car out of impound. Ultimately, Kelly is sentenced to 300 days for the DUI, and she has served approximately 100 days. It was like 106 or something, and she got a little more than a $1,500 fine. So altogether, she got 480 days in jail and about a $1,500 fine. After all this, she's supposed to go back to Lewis County to face charges for breaking into these people's property and then ramming their ATV with her car. The judge pointed out that Kelly was already on probation when she committed this crime. And the fucking DUI. I'm sorry, do you enjoy county jail? Because that's what it's starting to look like. So on the charges in Lewis County, the judge in Lewis County recused himself, and this trial got moved to Boyd County, Kentucky. So Lewis County, Greenup County, Boyd County. The judge in the Lewis County case, Judge McLeod, name might sound a little familiar, had to recuse himself for multiple reasons. One, he heard Kelly's juvenile case that happened before the Mattie Conley incident. So she was already a fucking problem. And two, he is the judge that Mattie's dad allegedly threatened on Facebook and that he ultimately went to jail for and served a multi-year sentence over those threats. She goes to jail for her approximately 380 days in jail, so a year. This is in September of 2022. February of 2023, so a year ago. This is the last update that I have on Kelly Dummett. In February of 2023, she has a court appearance for the Lewis County incident. So I assume at that point, she has gotten out of jail in Greenup County and is now in Lewis County to face the charges of ramming these people's ATV with her car. She's going to end up doing more time for than the girl that she rammed with her car and took her life. She goes to court for the Lewis County incident where she wants bail. She wants to be out on bail. They give her a $100,000 cash bail. The attorney is pressing for releasing her on her own recognizance. Why the fuck would they do that? She has run from her warrants at least twice. And one time for 2 years. When they tell her absolutely the fuck not on that, she petitions for an ankle monitor. The judge says absolutely not. You're not getting an ankle monitor, and he gives her $100,000 bail. That is the end of the information that I could find. This trial hasn't happened yet. This has a hearing in April for this case. If she has 2 brain cells to rub together, she will take a plea bargain, anything that is offered to her. I only hope that Kelly Dummett will finally serve some jail time more than less than 2 years. She took someone's life, whether willingly or accidentally because you're a crazy girlfriend or because you're jealous. What are you jealous over? It's some dude from Greenup County, Kentucky. And nothing against people from Greenup County, Kentucky, but I guarantee this guy wasn't worth fighting over because nobody's worth fighting over. There's not a man on this fucking planet that's worth fighting over. There's just not. There's not a woman on this planet that 2 people should be fighting over. Everybody sucks. There's 100,000 of them in your general vicinity. Find another one. You want a redneck with an ATV to ride around on the highway? There's lots of those. I passed one on my road today. That's the very sad and very unjust story of Mattie Conley from Greenup, Kentucky. Poor Mattie lost her life in such a stupid way over a stupid boy. Why? It's just senseless. Now her little daughter has to grow up without her mother because of some fucking redneck with a shitty four-wheeler. Like, y'all, what are we doing here? This is such an injustice. It's infuriating. The fact that, to the best of what I can find, James Wyatt Ratliff never served any jail time for his role in moving her body, deleting text messages, and telling witnesses to shut the hell up. That is crazy. The fact that Kelly Dummett violated the diversion the day after she accepted it and didn't go to jail for years until she committed other crimes. She went to jail for more time for a DUI than she did for murdering Mattie Conley. I think she was a stupid 17-year-old girl who apparently has no form of reason that decided she was going to chase after this piece of shit guy on his shitty little four-wheeler and scare Mattie so that she would leave this guy alone. The 17-year-old Kelly could keep dating her 20-year-old boyfriend. I don't think Kelly went into this intending to kill Mattie, but the fact is that she caused Mattie's death. Kelly Dummett and James Ratliff caused Mattie Conley's death. They took a mother from her child, lied about it, moved her body, and tried to fucking hide it, and never served a day in jail or prison for that murder. Our system is so fucked up. It is so fucked up. And this is a prime case of it. All right, y'all, that's all for tonight. 45 minutes of me recording this video. I'm going to have to edit the shit out of it. But that's my return to true crime. Mattie Conley, 1 year later. I hope y'all have a wonderful night. I'll see y'all soon. Let me know if there's anything else that you want me to cover. Anything famous, anything local, anything in your area. Let me know. I'll look it up and we'll get into it. Love you. Bye.